If you're looking to launch or optimize your podcast for business growth, but you're not sure where to start, or worse, you're afraid of wasting time on something that doesn't bring in clients, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Toby Goodman, a marketing strategy consultant and best-selling author of Narrow Podcasting. I help my clients plan, position, and produce podcasts who represent health organizations, including oncologists and therapists, as well as small business owners like lawyers and executive coaches. None of my clients are trying to use podcasting for fame or sponsorships. They use it as a business tool to grow their network, get more clients, and scale their business. So if that's what you want from your podcast, not just downloads, but real business growth, stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through the ultimate profitable pod checklist, a step-by-step breakdown of everything you need. From the initial idea to launching your first episode, to making sure your podcast actually works for your business, and what you need to do after each episode is published. So let's get into it, because the following needs to be true if you want a podcast that actually drives revenue. Show planning and positioning. I understand that the profitable pod method is not the same as TV or radio, and I'm not hosting a shiny floor TV show for the people, and that it needs my speaking tone to remain relaxed and personal so it connects to my guest and listeners. I have a narrow target market and have positioned my podcast to appeal to them and all the people they have a relationship with. I have a strong show title and tagline that immediately explains who my show is for and who it isn't for, so that I'm not leaving any listeners who come across my podcast in any doubt of what they're in for if they press play. I have created at least one freebie, guide, quiz. This is a lead magnet that speaks to the needs and desires of my ideal clients. And I have great looking artwork that creates a strong first impression, showing my guests and people in my network and listeners that I take pride in my work. Gear, tech stack, production. So this is microphones, the pieces of software you need, all of that stuff. Firstly, my computer is in good condition and I have access to a stable, high-speed internet connection. I have or plan to acquire soon a paid-for and legitimate hosting package, so I can be confident I have full ownership of my own podcast content and my show can't be hijacked or stolen. I also have quality recording equipment that's set up in a quiet environment and the help of professional production services. I also have an automated email or CRM system linked to my website that can deliver my freebie, email, blast, and any additional content upgrades. So this could be additional resources that you have, like a checklist or like a particular video on a particular subject where people can go in and access that stuff. I also have a system to run my Pod-Lationship Cycle, which is going to be something like Trello or similar. And the Pod-Lationship Cycle is something that I mention and go through in great detail in Narrow Podcasting, my book. And of course, I teach my clients to build their own. And I have a system like Canva, Wave, Headliner, something like that, to easily create social media assets. And this is, of course, something that you can outsource to. My website can host my podcast with blog posts set up for each individual episode. That's so important because each episode then has its own URL and lives in its own environment, and the guest can point people to that one page on your website and it will be all about them, which is a big part of the work we do and I do at Narrow Podcasting. My website is easy to navigate and my podcast is easily found. And it helps guests book in for recording while simultaneously enabling me to collect information from them and create show notes, episode artwork, and additional social media assets. And my website hosts the lead magnet, that free download, a short, value-based freebie that people who don't know me can come and download and come and get access to, and through that permission-based marketing, identify themselves to me as somebody who's interested so that I can follow up and find out more about them. Pre-launch production. I'm clear on the possible listening positions: sensitive, defensive, critical, open, etc. of my various guests and my ideal listeners. I have written and recorded my intro, outro, lead magnet and teaser script elements. I have made considered invites to guests, taking time to clarify my own good, better and best outcomes for each one, and also why they would want to be on my podcast. And I've also planned my first 10 episodes for launch. I've also carefully created perhaps 5 solo episodes that showcase my expertise with specific people in mind, so I can use the shows as a tool to generate interest in my podcast launch from day one. Now, there are different launch strategies, and I work with each of my clients to make sure that they're launching in the right way for where they are at that point. I've also booked and recorded at least 5 guest episodes. You want to make sure that your podcast is in the bag and that you're not then waiting for someone to show up, because once your podcast is launched, if you've promised to show every Monday morning, you want to make sure you deliver on that. So it's good to batch record stuff. Every guest I invite is one or all of the following: an existing client or prospect, a powerful referrer, or a partner, a potential partner. I will be ready to publish weekly episodes 7 days after my launch. And I will maintain a steady stream of invites and solo shows, so I'm never stuck for recordings and never need to create under pressure. I will plan thoughtful questions with quality answers in mind that will serve to enhance my reputation with my guest and create a sense of inclusivity for my listeners. My production team helps me set up my recording gear to get the best results and edit my audio, match music and sound to my show, write SEO show notes with pull-out quotes, upload my podcast to hosting platform, and my production team help me by communicating with me clearly. My podcast team also help me create more assets like audiograms, video snippets, in a way that I can easily manipulate them and drag them into the different social media channels I run. Pod-Lationship Cycle and follow-up. The Pod-Lationship Cycle is documented in Narrow Podcasting, my best-selling book, and also in the Profitable Pod Method Skills sessions, which you'll find if you go to narrowpodcasting.com. I've set up a pool of pod prospect guests. I'm making frequent invitations to the right people who fit one or more of the essential 3 criteria in the Profitable Pod Method: potential client or referrer or partner. I have a keep in touch strategy that A, builds my credibility and likability with my guest, and B, builds a wider network that makes it easy for my guests to share the podcast. And C, gives me a list of podcast guest alumni to keep in regular contact with. My Pod-Lationship Cycle and follow-up also means that I've separated the network I built through my guest interviews from my mass email lists and never opt them into my out there marketing stuff. And finally, I'm always on the lookout for ways I can serve my network. I hope you found that helpful. Look, your business is unique, so if you'd like my personal support in the positioning and planning of your podcast so it serves your business and your business goals, and or you'd like to work with my podcast production team, you can find more resources and ways to get in touch over at narrowpodcasting.com.